When WWE 2K23 announced WarGames was the new match type, a lot of reaction was this.
Yeet.
When I started to play, I thought, okay, this is pretty good. But after a handful of playthroughs, I couldn't help but feel like something just didn't work for me.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
So what's wrong with the WWE 2K WarGames match? Well, to find out, I did the healthiest thing possible. I asked the internet. The responses were massive, and also some were just offensive for no reason.
How dare you, sir? You're gross.
To be clear, I don't hate the WarGames match in 2K. I think it's a strong addition the devs took several years to put together. We get 3-on-3 or 4v4 WarGames. You can adjust the times for the entries, bring in weapons, jump off the cage. There's a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, we keep it lit.
But after thinking it over and asking the internet the question, there seems to be a common thread. 5 versus 5 is not there. If WWE 2K24 is bringing back WarGames, and I'll safely assume they are, this is a must. Maybe it's just a limitation of the game itself and the architecture not allowing them to do 5v5. Because let's be honest, after many years of these 2K games, we still don't even have traditional 5 versus 5 Survivor Series match.
5-on-5.
I can totally see for 2K24 if they do a 5v5 option, it would be for current gen or next gen only. I don't think the old consoles can handle it. If next year we still can't get a 5v5 traditional Survivor Series match, just WarGames is off the table. You would never do 5v5 with 2 cages.
No, come on!
Yeah.
But it's not just 5v5 that matters. The other thing is entrances. When it comes to WarGames in 23, the first 2 entrants inside WarGames get the entrance. And I like the entrance motions that we do get. We get a little bit of a custom one because it's tailored to WarGames. They just didn't do Cody's entrance and it's all mangled with the cage. But we don't get to see everyone. We only get to see the first 2 and then it simulates. I think they need to bring in the option to view all of the entrances. But here's the thing. I am not that brash to say that we would get full entrance motions with everyone entering the ring for WarGames. That doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense.
With WarGames, everyone that is going to stay waiting inside of the cage in the cell off to the side, that's the entrance we should be seeing. Now here's the thing with that. In 24, they would need to move the cell, the cage, to the stage. Why it is behind WarGames, I do not understand. Other than that's just how they needed to design it to get it to work. But in 24, what I would do is I would have all of the additional team members have a generic entrance. I don't need or expect to have everyone's specialized entrance motion. Just give everyone else a more generic look of their entrance where they walk out to the stage, they look around to the crowd, and then they enter into the cage. And then just give players the option to simulate or turn this feature off if they want to. So it's generic, but it's not as intense as redoing entrance motions for everyone, and it still gives you the real feel, but keep the option to skip. Okay, the next one, this came up a ton online, and that is going to do with custom creations and custom arena options for WarGames. It's so boring to have it limited to Survivor Series and NXT.
This is boring.
And I understand for 23, it's their first attempt at the match type and they want to make sure it works smoothly. But customization is sorely missing here. I would love a WCW arena for WarGames. Be able to have a full-fledged WarGames on Raw. Community Creations is full of talented people. I'd love to download new designs. Even if they're limited the WarGames creation to a specific stage template, I'd like to update and change the banners, the logos, and the show design overall. It's probably way more complicated than it seems, but it is something that the community, because the 2K series is so heavy on the creation suite and being able to customize and create custom superstars, this would matter a lot, and it would matter a lot to the community. The next one I have here, eliminations. Now hear me out. I'm not the only one that's thinking about getting eliminations as a feature in the WarGames match. A lot of people online said the exact same thing. Yes, it changes the original rules of WarGames match, but I feel it creates so much drama. WarGames officially begins as normal with everyone in the ring. Imagine if your whole team got eliminated in WarGames and it was down to you against all other 3 or 4 or 5 members of the opposing team. The drama it creates would be amazing. To be able to have those handicap match situations going on creates more strategy, and if you involve other players, like if you're doing couch co-op or online, which is another thing, just get it working for online. But doing that would create so much more fun in this match. Because we can already do eliminations in a traditional tag team, multi-man tag team match. We can also do eliminations in the 3v3 and 4v4 matches without the cage. Just make it tornado style and add in eliminations. And then just allow players to toggle this on and off in the menu as an option. This next one, it bugs me. It bugs a lot of people, but it has to do with universe mode. And it's not just the fact that there's 20 other things that we need improved in universe mode, ladies and gentlemen, but with WarGames specifically, it's that WarGames doesn't really work all that much in universe mode. In a regular calendar year, we can play at Survivor Series and NXT WarGames, and that's great. But with not being able to customize it like we mentioned, you can't really do WarGames like on Raw or SmackDown or anything else we would feel like. Now hold on, you can do a WarGames match on Raw, I've done it. But the template changes to NXT WarGames, for example, and that's no good. I need to be able to just put a WarGames match on Raw without it changing up the venue and the look and feel of the entire program. Without the customization option, this goes back to creation, and that they are not allowing WarGames to play out in a Raw arena, a SmackDown arena, and if you're gonna do other premium live events, it doesn't work either. It's the same issue. Yes, we can have WarGames different days of the week if we want to, but universe mode needs this option put in here so it better suits the player. Now this next one, it came up a few times online and I didn't think about it at first, but I totally agree. And that has to do with different camera angles. I know it's a hot mess with just so many characters inside of WarGames going at it, but it feels kind of stale and boring when you don't get different camera cuts. Other than when different moves, big moves, are gonna be pulled off, that's the only time you're gonna see the close-up shot. I think different camera angles are really needed in here. And like, would an instant replay kill us at all?
I'm in.
And what about after a big move where someone jumps off the top of the WarGames cell?
Count me in.
It'd be so cool if you got like your teammates' reaction from those that are still inside the cages waiting to enter the match.
Count him in too.
We got that with like the Bloodline Survivor Series WarGames match previously. You get the reactions of Paul Heyman, of Roman Reigns. You need to add that layer in, and on top of that, add in more commentary lines with WarGames to make it feel more authentic. Now speaking of authenticity, the next thing has to deal with moves. Improving the movesets, diving moves, finishing moves, all off of the cell and within WarGames, and specializing it more for the WarGames match. That should be a huge moment with a better camera angle cut, and not just a random splash you are doing from the top of the cage. I love that we get moments where we splash on our opponent through a table, and that is awesome, but we need more to keep it interesting. There should be specific finishing moves within a WarGames match that you can pull off, or larger top of the cage moves that you can do, like a moonsault, the splash, a giant leg drop, or if they pull this off in 24 as an option, multi-person splash off top of the cage. Let's climb to the top and let's do a giant splash on two people, get a better camera cut in there to really sell the giant moment that we just pulled off. And when you want giant moments, you want it to feel really authentic and that sense of realism. And that sense of realism often comes in the way of weapons. We need more weapon options inside of WarGames.
Fantastic. Yeah.
The standard weapon wheel is old, and this goes across the entire game. We can't just have the exact same weapons in 24. It feels lazy. It doesn't add any more drama. Been there, done that. We've used all the same weapons. They need to customize the weapon options a lot more. Bring in trash cans. Allow ladders inside of WarGames and Hell in a Cell.
Thank you.
It's very good of them to include weapons in the WarGames match at all, because to be honest, when the match type was announced originally, I was skeptical that they would even include weapons as an option. So I'm thankful that they're there, and that's a win.
Win, win, win.
But they gave us almost everything except the ladders, and we need more. More weapon options in the game, but in this match type, we need more variety to keep it interesting. And from hundreds of responses and comments and the weirdo ones off to the side that made no sense, the other thing that came up a ton was to do with pacing, the pace of the match itself. We can adjust intervals for the next person to enter, but my biggest problem with 23's WarGames is the poor pacing in the match. It just ends so fast. There's no build. It lacks the intensity like the real thing. And this is supposed to be simulation experience, and it really lacks. Once everyone enters, I feel like I got 2 minutes and then the whole thing is just over.
That's what she said.
Is WarGames in 2K23 a failure? I'm not sure. That's where you come in. It's a great addition to the series, but I think without some improvements and fixes we talked about here, it's going to feel outdated and maybe even a little boring in 2K24. But WarGames isn't the only thing that needs to be addressed in 24. The showcase mode has some questions too, so click this video to find out why The Undertaker should be the 2K24 showcase star. See ya.